They are the mouths that roar, and the louder the better. Radio talk show hosts who get paid to shock you. If you think you've heard it all, tune in to Bernard Goldberg. Bernie?
Connie, you're about to meet a man whom you'll either love or hate. There will be no middle ground, which is just the way he likes it.
Good morning, Denver. That's right, it's me, yours truly, the Black Avenger.
They call him the Black Rush Limbaugh, which is either high praise or a low blow, depending on your point of view.
When the police come to serve and protect you, you turn on them. When the firemen come to put out the fires in your own neighborhood, when you burn your own homes down, you turn on them. Truth, justice, and the American way, honey. Liberalism is reducing this country to a public toilet.
That's very offensive.
Offensive?
His name is Ken Hamblin. He's 53 years old, and admit it, he doesn't look like your idea of a no-nonsense, law and order conservative, does he?
I'm an average colored guy. I'm an average guy who simply wanted the same thing that I wanted last month. Safe streets for my wife and me to walk from our home through the park on a hot summer night. And those bastards stole that from us.
What makes Ken Hamblin so controversial, of course, is not simply that he's a conservative, it's that he's a black conservative, with all the subtlety of a sledgehammer.
The media, along with the liberal egg-sucking dogs, along with quota blacks, are responsible for the state of anarchy that exists in Darktown America today.
You see, that's what has your critics so angry at you. Darktown?
Darktown, why? A place is dark where your babies are shot. Darktown when your children disappear, your sons are shot on corners. Darktown for the grimness.
Ken Hamblin, believe it or not, used to be a liberal who grew up on welfare in a tenement in Brooklyn, New York. Years later, he registered black voters in the South, and he was an award-winning photojournalist who shot these pictures, documenting the urban riots of the 1960s. What happened to you? You used to be a civil rights working liberal, right? A card-carrying member of the liberal establishment.
Kennedy Democrat.
Why aren't you that liberal anymore?
Because liberalism is killing us slowly, black people slowly with its song. It implies that no black person can get a fair shot.
He may not like the black civil rights establishment, but he has downright contempt for white liberals. Because?
Because white liberals will not accept the fact that it's possible to have legitimately mean and ugly, bad black people. It's an attitude of paternalism. It says that we shouldn't be responsible for ourselves. It says that somehow a black boy who meets you after the theater in New York City and sticks a gun in your gut is somehow, he's just a victim of the socioeconomic storm. We hate your guts for it. We know that you've propped us up, white America. And that's why we have this revered thinking about a faraway place that we don't know a hoot about.
Africa.
Africa. We've got guys running around renaming themselves Ooga Booga Moonga or some stupid, ridiculous thing. Let me tell you something, Bernie. I haven't been to Africa. But you know what? I read the paper. I look at the news. I know about the deprivation, the lack of human regard for human rights. I know about the murder, the debauchery. I don't have any romanticized view of Africa.
Stan, you calling from the Denver area?
Suspenders, jackets, sweaters.
Okay.
Man's world.
Great. If you hold on and make sure your radio's turned off, we'll get to you as soon as we can, all right?
It's really critical.
Good morning from the KNUS News Center in Lakewood.
All right. Well, we can forget President Clinton moving on welfare reform, reducing the weight of the sow.
He thinks there's too much welfare and too much affirmative action. If we fail, we fail, Ken Hamblin says.
Because if you take us in to the 21st century as wards of America, we'll destroy this country. We'll pillage and loot and burn your cities. We'll feed on you like leeches.
That kind of talk, as you might imagine, has some people here in Denver furious. His biggest enemies are his most frequent targets, black civil rights leaders and white liberals, who say that Ken Hamblin is a racist, an Uncle Tom, and even that he would fit in quite nicely in the Ku Klux Klan.
I said once before, I thought he was a charbroiled David Duke. And this allows for him to make money because he's such a novelty.
Chet Y heads the Colorado chapter of the Rainbow Coalition. He says Ken Hamblin is playing to a white audience, saying the kinds of things that many whites want to hear.
Isn't Ken Hamblin simply saying, take responsibility for your life, Black America? Stop blaming America for everything that goes wrong. Stop playing the victim.
All right. See, but Ken is not simply saying that. There's no problem in some of the snippets that he gives as far as the message about responsibility, the message about self-determination. The problem is when he goes overboard and his characterization of the black community as being dark town, that black women breed like cockroaches. It's offensive.
I think you should have been born a white man because I think that's what you want anyway.
Well, you can't take away my blackness.
Yeah, no,
Get out of here.
What has your critics up in arms is black people calling themselves unga munga wunga. Mm-hmm. I mean, they say if a white person said that, we'd call him a bigot. Why not call you a bigot?
Okay, I'll be a bigot. Call me a bigot, but is it true? Is it true?
What Ken does is he draws out white America's deep-seated fears about black people.
You think he's an Uncle Tom?
I called him a marquee Uncle Tom, meaning that he takes his Uncle Tomism and he markets it.
For how many years have I been sitting at this microphone saying to you, hey, stop crying prejudice, stop crying bigotry, stop crying, oh my goodness, they're doing this to me because I'm black. Somebody hates your guts, hey, you got two choices. You get a big bore gun and you vaporize yourself, or you pick yourself up and you head on down the road to get on with the rest of your life.
I used to say Ken hated himself, but Ken loves Ken. I mean, that's pretty evident. He may not like the package that Ken is wrapped in, but he has found a way to take that package and make it work for Ken.
The package meaning you think he's uncomfortable being black?
I think he's uncomfortable being a short, ugly black man.
And we call you a slime ball?
You call me whatever you want as long as you do it with style.
The implication certainly is that you're sort of ashamed to be a black guy.
The implication, sir, is that anyone who disagrees with them is painted with that ugly brush. I talk about me as a black person. I tell them on the radio, don't ask me to choose between being black and an American, because you're not going to like the answer.
Which is?
I'm an American who is black. Told.
Besides being on the radio every day, Ken Hamblin writes a column for the Denver Post, which generates more response than any other feature in the paper. Chuck Green is Hamblin's editor.
Ken Hamblin doesn't say anything that Pat Buchanan or Rush Limbaugh don't say, and they're published in a lot of respectable newspapers. The difference is Ken Hamblin is a black man saying those things. That's what's not acceptable.
I'm called a house nigger. I'm called an Uncle Tom.
Another knock on Ken Hamblin is that this kid from the Brooklyn ghetto, this child welfare case, talks a lot about black people, but doesn't especially like being with black people. That he's more comfortable at a meeting like this of mostly white lawyers.
Thank you very much.
How about a cup of that coffee there? It'd be swell.
The rap is he's more at home in a cafe in the Rockies than he is in Denver's black neighborhoods.
How did I sell myself out?
Can't you sell yourself out, man? Mainly because you think that everybody in the black community is a sleazeball.
He's never there to be accountable for his actions. He's never had a direct dialogue outside of the radio program with the black community.
Yeah, well, you couldn't get elected dog catcher in this.
I'm not running for anything.
I know.
So we talked to Ken Hamblin about that charge in one of Denver's black neighborhoods.
What do I want to come down here for? What's down here? Except people that should be led out of this place, Bernie.
And while we were walking through the neighborhood, Hamblin was unexpectedly confronted by one of his targets, who wasn't happy.
Say, man, you know who I am?
Nah, brother. How you?
I don't know who I am, but you can write a news article on me, right? Negative. My name is Mike Wasbury.
It turns out Hamblin had written a column about Michael Asbury, who he called a street thug, who had threatened to shoot a policeman.
He comes down so hard before he even meet a person, before he give a person a second chance, or before he can get, to where I can talk to you and find out who you are. He won't do that. I feel he's selling the community out, because I got stacks of his articles.
What does he say that bothers you?
It's just downgrades, this community too much. When he got it lavish, look how he's dressed, man. The man got it made.
I'm angry. I'm angry every time somebody looks at the way you walked up on us and they're afraid of you. I know that you perceive that as power. And you know how they neutralize that? No, please, please, please. You walked up on me, you got into an expletive deleted, you want to relate to me on a whole level that's going to keep you on your back. I fought to change that, brother.
They stood there and told me I sold out because I refused to let my children, my wife, or me lay in a community in the dark where you have to lay behind iron bars, where you have to listen to gunshots.
You know, your critics aren't going away.
My critics aren't going away. I'm not going away. I'm not going away, Bernie. I've got them surrounded. I'm just stupid enough to believe I've got them surrounded. Good morning, Denver. That's right, it's me, yours truly, the Black Avenger.
Bernie, is this guy for real?
Well, his critics say it's an act, that he says what he thinks will sell. As you might imagine, Ken Hamlin he dismisses his critics. But I think we may have caught an early glimpse of somebody that we're going to be hearing a lot more from. You know, in the story, I said that they call him the Black Rush Limbaugh.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe in the not-too-distant future, they'll be calling Rush Limbaugh the White Ken Hamlin.
Thanks, Bernie. When we come back, is Amelia Earhart's fate still up in the air? See what you think.
Cheese Whiz cheese spread has 1/3 less fat than butter or margarine. Pretty big news, huh? But will your kids like its great taste on broccoli instead of butter? I'll take that as a yes. Proof once again that Cheese Whiz makes it marvelous with 1/3 less fat than butter.
Jim Fansler's cold won't give him a minute's rest. But he's about to break free with an effervescent rush of relief. Alka-Seltzer Plus Nighttime. It speeds powerful medicines to free your breathing, relieve your runny nose, soothe your aches, and quiet your cough so you can rest, all without alcohol. Nothing rushes relief like Alka-Seltzer Plus Nighttime.
Mrs. Butterworth, you're the slowest person I ever met.
Well, my original syrup is so deliciously thick and rich, it takes more time to pour than maple syrup. See?
Sure does, Mrs. Butterworth, but you're really worth it.
Like luxury sedans costing twice the money, the Nissan Altima has special sound dampening insulation and 3 seals on every door, which helps sound outside the cabin remain outside and sound inside remain inside. Now lease the Altima GXE with a special options package for $229 a month and $750 down for 36 months.
When Eye to Eye continues in a moment, they said Amelia Earhart's plane was lost at sea, but this man may rewrite history.
You think she landed here? Then she was picked up.
That's exactly right. All the evidence indicates that Amelia was brought here.
Also, the Los Angeles fires almost got them. The earthquake did.
If you'd been sitting here, well, yeah, we'd be dead.
Action news for you tonight. Santa Monica Hospital has become the latest victim of the California quake. It evacuated 150 patients because of structural damage. The latest death toll is at 51. In the Northeast, the death toll is at 101 in the wake of frigid temperatures and heavy snowfall. A Virginia jury has begun their deliberations in the Lorena Bobbitt trial. The defense claims Bobbitt could not stop herself from sexually mutilating her husband, while the prosecution contends it was a calculated revenge. I'm Alan Jones. We'll have details at 10.
This is CBS.
Why drive from dealer to dealer to see small inventories when you can drive to Rock River Ford and see them all? We have the largest selection of used cars around, and every car is fully reconditioned by factory-trained technicians. See our second chance credit counselors, and you can drive home today. Just look what $39.95 will buy, with $99 down and only $99 per month, or $49.95 with $125 down and only $125 per month. Rock River Ford has the largest selection, the best prices, and the best warranties. For used cars, Rock River Ford.
On the next Rolanda, have you lost that loving feeling?
He just doesn't pay as much attention as he used to.
We're helping couples rekindle the flames of passion.
I'd placed an ice cube in my mouth
and started from the neck and just worked my way down.
What do guys really want their ladies to wear? And gals, could you see your man in this? Put the sizzle back in the relationship. Watch the next Rolanda.
Jordan still taking swings for Sarasota at 10.
It was a time when women barely drove cars, let alone flew planes, and Amelia Earhart captured the spotlight as few women before her. When the world's most famous female aviator suddenly disappeared in 1937, people wanted answers. They got them. But Russ Mitchell found a man who says he can prove those answers were wrong. Russ?
Connie, he's got more than just a theory, and we went with him on a journey halfway around the world in search of evidence to prove it.
Welcome to the South Pacific. A place of lush jungles and tranquil waters. It is here, near one of these islands, that the final flight of Amelia Earhart came to an end.
Let me ask you something. Has anybody here ever heard of Amelia Earhart? Anybody?
I do.
You've heard of her?
Yeah. I've heard about that.
And it is here that the mystery of what actually happened to Amelia Earhart begins.
A new plane for the First Lady of the Air.
This new Lockheed comes to me as a realization of a dream.
They called her Lady Lindy, the second person after Charles Lindbergh to fly the Atlantic solo. Earhart was the first person, man or woman, to fly solo from Hawaii to California. She won dozens of flying competitions. In the 1930s, Amelia Earhart's celebrity was unmatched. She was one of the most famous women in the world.
Bidding farewell to her husband, the famed aviatrix sets out on a perilous flight.
But by 1937, she told friends she was tired. She had only one more big flight left. A flight that would take her around the world at the equator, from east to west. Accompanied by only her navigator, Fred Noonan, she took off from Miami and then hopscotched across Africa and the Middle East, landing and taking off dozens of times. She flew on to India, then to Indonesia. Earhart almost made it, but on her next to last leg, flying across thousands of miles of Pacific Ocean, she vanished. The official story from the U.S. government: disappeared at sea after becoming hopelessly lost. That's the official story.
What you're about to hear for the very first time are believable, plausible explanations for what really happened to Amelia Earhart. It's one of America's most enduring mysteries and perhaps one of its best-kept secrets. The official government story is that Amelia Earhart went down into the Pacific. That's it. End of story.
End of story.
Why can't you accept that?
It's not true.
Randall Brink is the author of a new book about Amelia Earhart called Lost Star, a book that says she did not drown in the Pacific Ocean, but lived perhaps for years after her disappearance.
Give me a percentage. How confident are you that your theory is correct?
95 to 100%.
Really?
The evidence is compelling.
These are the last pictures ever taken of Amelia Earhart. They show her surrounded by natives at a small village on the eastern tip of New Guinea, due north of Australia. Her next planned stop would be a tiny island 2,500 miles to the east toward Hawaii. Her route over territory then governed by the Japanese.
You believe that her plane went down here?
Well, there's no question that it was down in this atoll area.
We invited Randall Brink to the South Pacific on a voyage of discovery, a voyage to question the accepted version of what happened to Amelia Earhart. To back up his claim, her disappearance over Japanese territory was no accident, that she became a prisoner in an undeclared war. Our first stop was the Marshall Islands, thousands of small coral atolls in the heart of the Pacific. One of these atolls is a tiny dot called Millie, where today, kids from the Missionary Church Choir sing hymns beside the palm trees.
You think she landed here on the Millie Atoll, untouched by the Japanese, then she was picked up.
That's exactly right.
Radio spurs the Earhart search, greatest in aviation history.
The U.S. government mounted an unprecedented search for Amelia Earhart, a search that in 1937 cost an astronomical $4.5 million. But to hear Brink tell it, that wasn't just because she was so famous. He believes the Roosevelt administration did not tell the public the whole truth.
Plain and simple, what was her mission?
I think Amelia Earhart was a spy who was a patriotic spy, but a spy nonetheless. And
Brink says Amelia Earhart's plane carried state-of-the-art cameras.
Holes were cut, brackets were mounted on the inside of the fuselage skin, and the cameras were then mounted in that area between the cabin floor and the lower fuselage skin.
Andy says for at least part of her trip, President Roosevelt ordered Earhart to take aerial photographs of Japan's pre-World War II military buildup in the Pacific, a secret buildup that violated all international treaties.
Amelia Earhart was his way of getting the job done.
I think so, yes.
Sound crazy? Perhaps. But look at these Roosevelt-era transcripts disclosed for the first time in Brink's new book. The speaker is Treasury Secretary Henry Morgenthau, talking on the phone about a secret report on the Earhart disappearance. Morgenthau, if we're going to release this, it's going to smear the whole reputation of Amelia Earhart. If we ever release the report on Amelia Earhart, any reputation she's got is gone.
There's clearly a cover-up at work here.
And then there's this aerial photograph, taken near the end of World War II by a Navy reconnaissance plane. It shows a Japanese airstrip in the Marshall Islands. Beside it, the wreckage of a twin-tailed aircraft. The Japanese had no such plane in their inventory. Amelia Earhart's Lockheed Electra had twin tails.
And this is what that airstrip looks like today. The asphalt is virtually gone, reclaimed by the jungle. And here, on this remote Pacific island, is where Amelia Earhart's plane just might be.
There's no question this island was a major Japanese installation. You can still see the wreckage of Japanese planes and ships left here when they were destroyed. And Randall Brink believes it was here that Earhart's plane was taken after she was captured.
This place was top secret. The United States didn't know about this until well into the Second World War, some 7 years later, and it would be a very good place to hide a piece of evidence like that.
Far-fetched? Meet John Heine, who clearly remembers what he saw as a boy one summer day in 1937 on a nearby atoll in the Marshall Islands. He was in grade school, and the Japanese, who controlled the islands, suddenly gave everybody the day off.
And our teachers told us that we were to go to the end of the island and wave a small flag.
Japanese flag?
Yeah, Japanese flag. Welcoming a ship that was coming through the pass. It was towing a barge behind it, and on the barge was a plane. I saw a plane on the back.
It did not look like a Japanese plane.
It did not look like a Japanese plane at all. It had two props, and kind of shiny. And I don't know if it was from the reflect of the sun, but somewhat it was shining.
Based on what you saw that day 60 years ago, I realize it was a long time ago, and taking a look at this picture, do you think possibly you saw Amelia Earhart's plane out here that day?
Looking at this picture, because this is the first time I've seen a clear photograph of the plane, I think this is the plane I saw, and I think it was Amelia Earhart's plane.
In Washington, this kind of talk gets a one-word response: nonsense.
I really haven't seen any evidence that convinces me that that was in fact the case.
Thomas Crouch is chairman of the Department of Aeronautics at the National Air and Space Museum.
In a story that's this complex and in which there are this many possibilities, nothing's impossible. But it's not, certainly to my mind, the most probable ending of this story. I continue to think that the great bulk of what we know about that flight suggests that they're somewhere at the bottom of the Pacific.
But there are people, a lot of people, who say the final chapter to the mystery of Amelia Earhart may well have been written here on still another Pacific island. This is Saipan, a Japanese fortress during World War II, a place where the Japanese held all their important prisoners.
All the evidence that's come to light today indicates that Amelia was brought here.
And Brink believes the Japanese took Amelia Earhart and her navigator to this jail on Saipan.
We have interviews with some score of natives who had seen her here.
And Brink isn't the only one who thinks that.
And
Under some of the rubble, lo and behold, we found a safe.
Bob Wallach was an 18-year-old Marine on Saipan in 1944, 7 years after Amelia Earhart disappeared. He and his buddies found a safe in an abandoned Japanese military headquarters and blew it open. Inside was an attaché case.
And it was full of Amelia Earhart's papers, everything, bone dry. And I may have only been, 18 years old, but I said, something's wrong here. She's supposed to go down with a plane in the water. Visas, articles of entrance, and stuff to get in and out of places, maps, a lot of things with her name on them. Oh, I knew it was her suitcase, her briefcase.
Bob Wallach gave the case to an officer and never saw it or the officer again, ever.
I've always believed that, that she was a spy for us.
Today in the South Pacific, memories are fading. Eyewitnesses are aging. Time passes on.
This is a mystery that will not go away, and until an absolutely definitive solution is found, we're still going to be missing key parts of the puzzle. If she gave her life in the course of this episode, I think she did so for her country and should be remembered for that.
Russ, what is Brink's theory on what eventually happened to Amelia Earhart?
Well, he doesn't go into this in the book, but he told me it's possible she was taken to Japan for the duration of the war. He also says there's a wild possibility that she was the infamous Tokyo Rose. And there's the third possibility that she came back to the United States. In any case, she would have been 97 years old this year.
And what does the Japanese government say about all this?
The Japanese government says the same thing in 1994 that it said in 1937. We know absolutely nothing about the disappearance of Amelia Earhart.
Thank you, Russ. When we come back, some doctors in L.A. aren't making house calls this week. They're making street calls.
Hi there. I'm Dr. Zackler. I'm a psychiatrist.
How does the owner of Little Caesars think up his next great pizza idea? What are his influences, his inspiration?
That's it. Pizza for a buck. Where do I come up with this stuff?
Pizza for a buck. Your pizza bonus when you buy 2 pizzas with 2 toppings for $8.98.
Pizza.
Plus a third.
Pizza for a buck.
Have you smelled Clorox bleach lately?
Smells like a lemon fresh from the tree.
Fresh lemon fresh.
Smells like a clean, fresh lemon breeze.
Fresh lemon fresh.
Lemon fresh Clorox bleach.
You've got a sore throat, a painful cough, a stuffy nose. Give them the trademarked vapor action of Hall's Mentholyptus cough tablets and feel better fast. Hall's Vapor Action, only in the halls of medicine.
Okay, 2 scoops of raisins make Kellogg's Raisin Bran taste so good, people forget it's good for you. What do you think?
It's delicious.
And?
It tastes good.
That's the same reason.
He stole my answer.
And it's not an answer.
I agree with them. It tastes great.
Okay. You got the first part right. Kellogg's Raisin Bran tastes good, but...
Good for us!
There are 2 reasons to eat Kellogg's Raisin Bran. The taste.
And?
You're late. You want to call home. But something about that phone tells you using your card could be a problem. Are you going to get blocked? Are you going to get overcharged?
I think not.
Now there's a new way to get through. Just dial 1-800-CALL-ATT. It makes any card work from any phone, anytime. Try it now and save 20%.
Your true voice.
When the answer to Diane's troubles walks into her life, will her lover believe it's only business?
Should I be jealous?
John Schneider joins Second Chances next.
Tonight,
Let me see if I can hear it without the microphone first.
Dave listens to Demi Moore, plus Willie Nelson and Al.
He's a caring nurturer.
Franken.
Tonight.
Can Chuck Norris help a battered woman?
You could get help, you know.
Break free of her abusive boyfriend?
There's nothing I can do to help you unless you decide to help yourself.
An all-new Walker Saturday.
It was nature versus America this week, and nature won. The Arctic freeze that's gripping the East and Midwest has already claimed dozens of lives. In Los Angeles, it's been a week of aftershocks, power failures, and traffic jams after Monday morning's earthquake forced tens of thousands from their homes. Our Bill Lagatuda has lived through more than one California disaster. So, Bill, when are you moving?
Well, Connie, I've been asked that a lot lately in the past couple of days, not surprisingly, considering what parts of our city look like today. But the thing of it is, if you ask me, or if you ask most longtime Californians, was this enough to force us up and out? The answer you get is a loud, resounding, defiant no.
If you can avoid driving, that's your best bet.
It's true, parts of this city are in an awful mess.
It's a disaster.
Lives lost, nerves shattered. But in spite of what you've been seeing, we'd like you to know that LA is not about to drop off into the ocean. Most of the city is up and running. Most of us are alive and well. We do appreciate the concern.
Hello. We're just in the middle of grabbing some stuff out of here. Everybody's okay.
Paul Haggis and his girlfriend Deborah Renard are okay, despite what happened to them. If there is such a thing as the California dream, they were living it. But their home on the bluff was so badly damaged, it'll have to be torn down. I can just hear people in New York
Going, are they insane?
Yeah.
Living on a cliff in an old brick house with no earthquake insurance?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Basically,
so.
yes. Basically, yes. Just gonna grab a couple pair of jeans.
We watched Paul and Deborah as they decided what to take,
What can't I live without? I need some shoes.
what to leave behind, and found them remarkably calm.
We're here. Let's walk out with something.
Wasn't it just a few months ago they stood out back and watched the brush fires stop short of their property? This is the price they pay for living in paradise.
Yeah,
Look at that
look
view.
at this view.
It's
You can't
stunning.
imagine what it's like to wake up every morning and see that. I grew
can't-
up here. I just, it's hard to
can't-
imagine living
yeah.
any other place.
And it's not cold.
No, it's not. In fact, we Californians wonder why you put up with this. As much as you wonder why we put up with this. And this. And now this.
Hi, I'm Dr. Zackler. Nice to meet you. How do you do?
Meet Lester Zackler, a psychiatrist who's volunteering his time in some of the broken neighborhoods.
Moving everything out?
Yes.
The very places where you'd think everybody would be ready to give up on California. But no. Are we nuts for living here?
I don't think anybody's crazy to stay here. Any more crazy to stay in Southern California than, you know, on the banks of the Mississippi or at the coast of Florida. Where were you when it actually happened? I think most people don't believe that it's going to happen to them. This was it. And there is this suspension of disbelief that's necessary to live under those circumstances.
California has always been a land of last resort, on the edge of the continent, the farthest place you could go to make a new life. To enjoy these 80-degree January days, we willingly play the odds. And occasionally lose.
The house is gone, everything. This is all I got left, my dirty shirt.
When last we saw George Taylorson, he was watching his home burn up in one of our wildfires. Here he is today, putting up a new house right where the old one was. George, help me understand this. Why are you rebuilding in exactly the same spot? There could be more fires next year, right here.
And earthquakes. And you forgot to mention the floods that are supposed to come this weekend.
So why stay?
I don't know. I don't know. I think basically, I think it's a part of our human nature. Once you find a place and you like it and you call it home, any place else is foreign to you.
George's new home will be finished in a few months.
You look at my Emmys in the dust over there.
Paul and Deborah, they'll rent a house for now and get back to work. He's a writer for LA Law.
Yes, ma'am. Would you like me to type that up tonight? No.
She's an actress, and talk about stress, she played JR's secretary. As for our traveling psychiatrist, he's busy cleaning up his office.
Oh, my diplomas are crushed.
He's not giving up either. Maybe we've all spent too much time in the sun.
The nice thing about being in a crisis here in Los Angeles is you wake up to a sunny day at least.
Bill, what's that behind you?
This is a Mazda dealership in Santa Monica, and oddly enough, somebody came in just a few hours after the first earthquake and bought a car. It really stunned the salesman.
And Bill, what about those rains that are coming?
That could be a problem. The rain is in the forecast. There's a lot of open area, a lot of roofs that are down. It could cause some mudslides and an awful lot of inconvenience for people who are pretty well inconvenienced already. So I guess the question is, are we crazy to live here? The answer is yes, but not crazy enough to shovel snow.
Touche, Bill Lagatuda. We'll be right back.
Bet you don't know what's in your cereal.
Oh, yeah? Try me.
Cheerios has added salt.
Salt? Are you kidding?
Cracklin' Oat Bran has added fat.
Fat?
Corn Flakes has added sugar.
Sugar.
But Nabisco shredded wheat has no added salt, fat, or sugar. It's made from just natural, delicious, 100% whole grain wheat. So what do you think of that?
Very good. Very good. Great.
Nabisco shredded wheat. It's just naturally good.
Philadelphia, winner of 3 Golden Globe nominations, including Best Actor.
I have a case.
An emotional powerhouse, says Rolling Stone. One of the year's 10 best films. Philadelphia, rated PG-13. Now playing at a theater near you.
What's the difference between Diet Dr. Pepper and regular Dr. Pepper? Can't see the difference, can't hear it. The amazing thing is you probably can't taste the difference either. Discover what millions already have. The great taste of Diet Dr. Pepper.
Introducing Red Lobster's 20 shrimp and more platters. For a short time, when you order 20 of our succulent shrimp, you get more. Like 20 shrimp with a juicy steak, 20 shrimp with fresh grilled salmon, or 20 shrimp with steaming crab legs. What more could you want? How about a great price, just $10.99 for all this? And kids get shrimp just $2.99. 20 Red Lobster shrimp with either crab legs, salmon, or steak, just $10.99. So get more tonight, only at Red Lobster.
Quick & Rally is one of the largest discount brokerages in the United States.
The telephone's the lifeblood of our business.
The market moves at a moment's notice.
When we have a client that wants to place an order, they don't want to get a busy signal. If we're not there when they want to do business, they'll go elsewhere.
Using percentage allocation with our 800 service, we're able to divert calls during peak demand from branch to branch throughout their network. The customers are not disrupted by getting busy signals or long hold times.
Companies like Quick & Rally switch to MCI. That's proof positive.
The battle will be epic. 4-time world champion Canadian Kurt Browning. 1992 Olympic gold medalist Ukrainian Viktor Petrenko. 1988 Olympic gold medalist American Brian Boitano. And an upstart Canadian named Elvis. The Olympic Winter Games return to CBS. Share a moment with the world.
Here's a look ahead at next week, an eye-to-eye investigation.
So, Nick, if you'd like to buy some Girl Scout cookies.
Sure. It's as American as apple pie. But this former Girl Scout leader says you don't understand the way the cookie crumbles.
Why do you feel disillusioned?
Because I found out that the kids were nothing more to the Girl Scouts administrators but tiny little salespeople that go out and help pay their salaries.
Thanks for joining us tonight. We'll see eye to eye again next Thursday. And I'll see you tomorrow night with Dan Rather on the CBS Evening News. Good night, everyone.
Will a beautiful new patient come between Dr. Quinn and Sully?
That woman's in love with you.
You are the one who never has time to spend with me.
An all-new Dr. Quinn. Then, when your child is facing his fears...
I should have known he was afraid of horses.
Sometimes you just have to let go.
Now down for the train!
Hearts of the West, Saturday.
Mathau and Morgan are back with Stephanie Zimbalist in a murder mystery of family secrets.
I'd like to change my plea to guilty.
Incident in a Small Town, Sunday.
This is CBS.
Hardee's Daily Double Values. Now get any 2 double cheeseburgers for just $2. 2 regular double cheeseburgers, $2. 2 new grilled onion double cheeseburgers, $2. 2 new barbecue double cheeseburgers, $2. Or mix and match Hardee's Daily Double Values. 2 double cheeseburgers, $2. Now for a limited time.
Will you stop? Give me that.
And now for breakfast, 2 Hardee's mouth-watering sausage and egg biscuits, just $2. Hardee's.
Why drive from dealer to see small inventories when you can drive to Rock River Ford and see them all? We have the largest selection of used cars around, and every car is fully reconditioned by factory-trained technicians. See our second chance credit counselors, and you can drive home today. Just look what $39.95 will buy with $99 down and only $99 per month, or $59.95 with $149 down and only $149 per month. Rock River Ford has the largest selection, the best prices, and the best warranties. For used cars, Rock River Ford.
The Hononegah school system discusses a class on values. We'll have the story at 10.
Connie Selica is about to make a deal with the devil when she learns her late husband left her deeply in debt. On Second Chances, next.
For a transcript of this program, send $5 to I Transcripts, Box 7, Livingston, New Jersey, 07039, or call 1-800-777-TEXT. To order a VHS cassette of tonight's broadcast, call 1-800-762-9990.
Experience CBS News.